There's a reason some men walk into a room and shift the energy without saying a word. It's not just their look, not their status, not their words. It's the way they carry themselves, the habits they've trained, the discipline they've built, the calm they never lose. And women feel it immediately, not as fear, not as performance, but as quiet authority. Because masculinity, the kind that moves her without explanation, doesn't shout. It doesn't seek. It just is. And that's where the Stoic man stands, not above others, but within himself, rooted, focused, unshaken. This isn't about playing a part. It's about becoming something rare, a presence she trusts, a presence she craves. And it begins with 3 habits: simple, silent, unforgettable. Habit 1, emotional non-reactivity. In a world where everyone is triggered, outraged, or eager to respond, your silence becomes power. Most men are emotionally impulsive. A look, a message, a test from her, and they flinch. They explain. They overreact. But the Stoic man pauses, observes, chooses his response. This doesn't mean you're cold. It means you're in control. When you don't rush to defend yourself, when you don't react to every shift in tone or every game she plays, you signal something primal: stability, strength, presence. And women feel safer around men they can't shake, more drawn to the ones they can't emotionally dominate. Because when you stay still while everything else moves, you become the center, the one she revolves around. Habit 2, strategic silence. Most men talk to fill space. They explain too much, compliment too often, and reveal too quickly, hoping to be liked, hoping to be understood. But silence, used with precision, is a message all on its own. When you pause before speaking, when you let her talk without rushing to respond, when you hold your gaze without breaking it, you communicate something words can't: control. And that control makes her feel something deeper than interest. It makes her feel tension, curiosity, respect. You're not withholding to play games. You're speaking through stillness. And that stillness lingers long after the conversation ends. She won't remember everything you say, but she'll remember how she felt in the spaces between your words. If this is already shifting your perspective, subscribe and turn on notifications, because this is just the beginning. Habit 3, unwavering purpose. A man without direction is easily moved by opinions, by emotions, by women. But the Stoic man moves with intention. His time, his energy, his attention, they're not scattered. They're directed, focused, anchored in something bigger than desire. And that's what makes him magnetic. He doesn't drop his goals to chase a woman. He doesn't shift his standards to avoid rejection. He leads with vision, not validation. When she sees that you have a life that's already full, a path that doesn't pause for approval, a mission that comes before distraction, she leans in, not because you asked, but because she feels your gravity. You're not trying to impress, you're too busy becoming. These 3 habits, emotional control, intentional silence, and purpose-driven focus, don't just make you more attractive, they make you unforgettable. Because they change the way you enter a room, the way you hold yourself, the way you respond when she pulls, when she tests, when she waits for you to break character. And you don't. You stay still, you stay calm, you stay on path. Not because you're trying to win her, but because you've already won yourself. That's what women feel before they ever understand it. That quiet discipline, that invisible line you don't cross, that internal power that doesn't need to be announced. It doesn't need noise. It doesn't need performance. It just needs presence. Most men focus on tactics, what to say, when to text, how to act. But tactics without foundation collapse under pressure. These habits, these Stoic habits, aren't tricks. They're who you become. And the man who builds them doesn't have to try so hard. He doesn't chase attention. He attracts it by existing differently. When you walk into a room, she feels your calm before she hears your voice. She notices your restraint more than your words. She respects your direction more than your compliments. Because what moves her isn't your effort, it's your essence. And essence is built in silence, in control, in choices made when no one is watching. The truth is, women don't crave men who try to be masculine. They crave men who are masculine by nature, men who don't explain their worth because they live it, men who don't rush to impress because they have nothing to prove, men who don't chase approval because their purpose outranks attention. And when she meets a man like that, calm, grounded, silent, but undeniable, something in her shifts. She listens more carefully. She watches more closely. She starts showing up with energy she never gives to average men. Not because you demanded it, but because your habits called it forward. That's how quiet power works. It doesn't beg, it draws. If you build these habits, not for show but for self, you won't need to convince anyone of your value, least of all her. Because when a man lives with discipline, when he speaks with intention, when he walks with purpose, the world adjusts to his presence. Women feel it, men respect it, and you no longer move for validation, you move from truth. This is the Stoic path, where attraction isn't performed, it's embodied. Subscribe, stay steady, and remember, the most irresistible man isn't the loudest in the room. He's the one who doesn't need to speak at all.